Hello, and welcome back to my podcast, Pulling Back the Curtain, Vinny Ali. I'm your host, Vinny Ali, and we're on a newest episode. I know it's been minutes. We're trying something new again. Yeah, me, the master of not change, is trying to change. So, a couple things. I recently performed with the 144 at the Rusty Nail in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, which was a huge success. We had a great time, good turnout. Everyone had a good time. I got to do a little bit of voice work, mostly emceeing, which is fantastic because I need that experience. And if you are a fan of the podcast, you already know that I'm a huge fan of vision boards. Now, this was the original vision board where it has all these little quotes and everything. It occurred to me that it's more like a philosophy vision board situation. Because I want to manifest money and luck and everything, but I also feel like these habits and routines are essential to my life. Now, I just recently completed my newest one for 2025. A lot of quotes, a lot of visions, and a lot of opportunities for growth. Now, this one is mostly focused on just capitalizing on the beliefs that I've been building up earlier in more long-term situations. I have quotes from Miyamoto Musashi. I have Jim Rohn on here, and just little things, bits of information, and of course, my man Brandon Boyd of Incubus, my favorite band, to kind of keep me in check. And I also have a backside, which is all about Ted Lasso, with some other things thrown in there, like money and such, retirement, and things to think about for when I get back on my feet. And as you all have probably guessed, I have been a bit busy doing a lot of internal work. For those of you that have been along for a ride or just catching up, I was let go from my position in October of last year, and it was completely warranted. I messed up. I own it. And now I am finding and forging a new path in my life. I was lucky enough to be a part of a program that had mentorship in career building and finding work and everything. So now I'm looking for work outside of my cultural norm, like, just customer service, but more being a part of teams that help the community. So we're chasing bigger fish. The goal is to get a job that gets about $30,000 to $40,000 a year to start. And till then, we're going to do survivor jobs as usual, but we're keeping the mindset that we're on to something bigger and better. It's come to my attention that I am addicted to being of service, to being useful, as Schwarzenegger put it. And it's a good skill set, but it can also be a blinding skill set. I'm 38. I'm getting older. The acting roles are going to get more interesting as I get older, and my life's going to get more older and more interesting the longer I live. And I've come to my attention that there are some things I haven't done with my life yet. I haven't traveled. I haven't fallen in love enough to marry somebody. I haven't made any babies yet. Sorry, folks. No kids for this. For the old Vinmeister. Not yet, at least, but I'm very open. Even if I have the privilege of raising a kid that's not my own. Because one of the greatest achievements a man can achieve is being a father, or at least a father figure. And yes, if you're curious, we do have a Shure microphone on loan from our friend of the show, Chaz Myers. So he's doing a new setup at his place, and we're going to give this a try once things get a little bit more under control. I'm still learning with technology, to learn to just be around it and less intimidated by it. But bit by bit, I'm getting there. Sorry, didn't mean to get too distracted. So I've decided that this year, for 2025, my big goal is to write my first book. That's right. I'm writing my first book, My Life as a Sitcom. Now, I've thrown this title around a lot, as a radio play, and it started off that way. But friend of the show, Courtney Adkisson, has highly pressed that I should make it a book first. That way I own it and can do way more with it because I'll have all the rights to it. And me and her, we have a very creative, competitive relationship. But it's all love. It's all love. She kept pushing me to do the podcast. And I said to her, well, if I got to do my podcast, you got to do your podcast. And she did. She did. The We Got Lucky podcast. And she also has Beyond the Legends, the radio play that I'm also a part of. I'll put all the links in the description. That way you guys can follow along. And her husband recently officially released his first book in a series called The OC's Gift, a novel of the Wolf of Vespin by Christopher Shirk. Yes, it is official. They have their first book. It's a good read. You know, it keeps the pace. It seems very daunting at first because of, but when you actually get it going, it's quite captivating and keeps your interest. It's essentially about a princess that is dying of a wasting disease, and in this world, the matriarchs are the ones that take over power. Now, a veteran that has just been to war and just wants to just have a moment of peace and reset is tasked with finding the OC's gift. That way, the princess will have a chance at survival. It's got a lot of lore going on, which is something that I absolutely adore. There's a glossary in the back that will help me figure out what certain words are, like male and lariat, stuff like that. It's very helpful and insightful. Highly recommend it. You can find it on Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and all various other places. I'll attach a link to that as well. They now have 4 different versions. They have the paperback, as you saw, the hardcover, the electronic book, and they also have a mass production volume as well. More like small type thing. Anyway, the point is, that's going on. Courtney says to me, so we just published Chris's book. You know what that means, right? That I get a copy of it? No. You got to write your book. So that's how that started. Through a series of interesting events in my life, I came to a crossroads where I've been out of work since October 30th, officially. And I decided that I'm going to really put forth effort into my creative path. So that's what I'm going to do. A friend of mine, a very good friend, Christy, said, hey, I'm going to get my CDL license in a hotel for a week. Why don't you come, clear your head, so you can focus on whatever you want to focus on. And I was like, yeah, sure, sounds good. And then something happened. Something very profound happened. Mom looked at me and she said, you need to focus on your career. And I said, yes, ma'am. So I went to the hotel, locked myself away for 5 days there, and I banged out the first rough draft of my book, My Life as a Sitcom. It's not profoundly long. It's going to be short novella length because, well, that's how I write right now. Concise and to the point. No need for flowery this, that, and the other. And besides, it's a first book. I have been informed that many people should write 3 or 4 books before they publish, but for me, my mom's going to be 72 this year. And it's important to me that she sees this book. It's important. And I've made it my plan to release it on November 11th at the latest, published and ready to go by then. And thanks to Courtney, I now know how I can self-publish it. Now, don't come to me and ask me, how can I self-publish this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Write the damn book first, and then I'll put you in contact with Courtney because she's more in tune with that. Because I'm following a strict plan. The Sunday before I went, I wrote out every single chapter and a description of what the chapter is on index cards. Monday, I got there and I started typing out all the names of everything. And I just went down the list, just chapter, just writing until I could write no more. And I submitted it to my new friend, Alicia, who is an editor and a wonder theater kid of all things. She read it and she gave me some very good feedback. We sat down and we talked for hours to get it out in the open, and I'm currently taking all her notes into consideration, applying it, exploring it, and it's damn near exciting. It's very exciting. I made a plan, I'm following it through, and it's actually working. If you know me, I make a lot of plans like Batman. They don't always work, but I make them, and I make contingency plans, and this is the first time it's actually working. By March, I will have the newly improved, edited version that I've got for Alicia, and I'm actually been adding new chapters. So right now we're at about 20,000 words at the moment, give or take. And we're going to keep plugging away till however long it takes, however long we make it. But since it's the first one, I'm giving myself some grace. I'm not trying to get in the New York Times bestseller. I'm just trying to accomplish something that I have put off for a long time. Like most things, I'm overwhelmed by the ending part of it all. The nitty-gritty, the publishing, the marketing, etc., etc. But we're going to give it a shot. I'm writing my first book, and I never felt more alive. That's the crazy thing. Writing, singing, and swimming are my 3 biggest fears. But yet this one I'm just embracing. I'm embracing it and I'm running with it, and it just feels really good. Well, kids, that's all I have for you. 144 coming at your door, still doing voice work with them. Writing my book. I'm auditioning. I'm learning new setups. Hopefully, I'll be able to do some books on tape as long as I can keep my cool with technology, which I will. Just gotta take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And we're gonna go from there. Well, remember what I always tell you. If it does not serve you, it does not deserve you. Be your own best friend. And remember, you can always get better. The world may get worse. The world may get better. But you can always get better. Thank you, guys.